And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Zero Oscars. Uh, I'm John from you. Oh my gosh. I'm John coming to you from the closet of my childhood home. There's a joke in there somewhere. And my co-hosts joining me today are...
I'm Kylan, coming to you from my childhood home, but not a closet.
Not yet.
I'm Alex, coming to you from, obviously, the war room, ready to take Jerusalem. Eli, you shouldn't have started.
It's too late. I'm Eli, coming from my childhood home and wall. I'm next to a closet, but that's about the only thing I have to say about the room.
I like that immediately we sort of set up the dominance of the situation, and Eli lost because he started talking, and he could have just kept going and sort of overpowered it, but he immediately backed down. Some might say he's good because he's a friend of the audio and doesn't want garbled talking, but we say that he's lost control and the situation's gone off the rails.
We say that he is weak.
I wasn't going to say it so soon. I feel like we're sort of, jumping ahead of ourselves. But, Kylan, what are the Zero Oscars? I kick it over to you because this is an idea that you brought to us, and I'm a big fan.
So the Zero Oscars was an idea I had when I was looking through movies on Rotten Tomatoes and looking at their scores, and I thought, how bad does a movie have to be to have a 0%? And we found so far 75 of them and decided, let's review these. Let's see exactly how bad they are to get this score. And then at the end, maybe we host the official Zero Oscars awards ceremony and see which one's the worst, which one's the best. Why John Travolta's in 4 of them. I don't know why he still does it.
So what I'm hearing is we're just going to look very briefly at the 0% movies and decide which one's the worst, right?
Oh, no. We are going to do an in-depth review, hopefully every week, of each movie, starting next week with Manos, The Hands of Fate.
Wait, so you're saying we're going to watch all 75 of these 0%
all
movies?
All 75,
Wait,
baby.
Hold up. Okay.
You're setting a scary schedule for us, though.
We're setting a dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
It's sort of, gosh, I'm just gonna go off for a minute. I'm curious because, like, when you get down to the bottom, right? Like, it takes a lot of work to get to 0%, but they can't all be as bad as each other, right? So I'm curious. I think for me, if we're thinking about like thinking ahead, like what we hope to get out of this, I'm curious what movies, like don't really deserve to be in 0%, if any, and if so, like, what are the degrees of bad? Because it's like the scale has hit rock bottom and we can't go any further to express that we think this movie is bad. But, like, what are the degrees of 0? Like, I'm just curious, like, how far apart these films can be from each other in terms of how bad they are. So that's something I'm interested to see. What are things that you guys are interested to see?
I agree with that. I'm also interested to see that a lot of these movies have very famous actors who have done very well in certain roles. So Adam Sandler's in a couple of these. But in Uncut Gems, he was really good, I thought. And that's a fantastic movie, yet he makes other movies that are terrible. And then Jim Carrey's in some of them, but he's also in The Truman Show and The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which are 2 of my favorite movies. And I'm really interested to see how some of these actors, like, are they just bad in some roles and better in others? Or is it the writing, or just why some actors are in really bad movies and then some really great movies as well?
I'm interested in what went wrong in the Police Academy film series.
There are 3 of them on this list.
Yeah. Well, 4, 5, and 6. I also wonder if it gets worse or if it's just random, So
not you haven't seen 4, 5, or 6, right?
No,
Has anyone seen any of the movies on this list?
One.
I have seen 1,000 Words, the Eddie Murphy movie. Is
that on this list?
It is on this list.
I've seen that.
That movie's not a 0%.
I agree. I don't think it's a 0, but it's on the list.
I like
the plane.
The execution's not great, but
yeah, it was kind of dumb, but like it was. Okay. So that makes me more interested then, because I see we've lost Alex, so it's not a 3-man show.
I've also seen the newest Lost Boys movie, which also got a 0%. Other than that, I don't know if I've seen like any of the others all the way through.
Yeah. Okay. So we're coming in like relatively fresh, you know, like a lot of us, we haven't seen, I don't know about you guys, but like looking at like my letterbox scores and the way I review movies, I tend to like movies, you know,
Right.
but maybe that's just because I've seen a lot of good ones. So I'm curious to see if like this will, you know, like I usually don't give a movie less than like 3 stars because I usually don't seek out movies that I think I'll really dislike.
Right.
So I'm curious to use the other half of the scale, right?
It'll really round out our letterboxed accounts.
Oh, this is true. Because I don't know about your guys's, but mine is just just sort of an angle that like climbs upward, and you just have the most reviews are like around 4.5, 5 stars, and then it sort of trickles down from there.
I think most of mine are around 4.
Mine's in the middle completely.
The bell curve.
Yeah.
Alex, what is something you're interested in or you expect to get out of this whole process?
Well, before Eli jumped the gun on me again.
So he took the power back, which is interesting.
Police Academy. I don't know. I've never been a really avid movie watcher myself, so it'll be interesting to watch some 75 really terrible movies. And as far as my Letterboxd account, I have 2 complete opposite sides. I have a lot of ones that I hated. And I have a lot of ones that I absolutely loved, and then there's not a ton in the middle.
You're a man of polar opinions.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting how I view these movies.
I'm going to be honest. This is one thing I'm very excited for, and it's maybe me, but I'm excited to see how frustrated you get watching some of these movies.
I've been thinking
just knowing what I know about like your tolerance for dumb movies.
I watched the first one already, Manos: The Hands of Fate. And, I had to stop probably 40 minutes in and just take a break because I was like, this is the stupidest movie I have seen so far.
And you might say that 75 times.
And this is the first one. And who knows? There could be more movies come out that get 0% that could get added.
This is that's it. So are we locked in some sort of like demonic contract where if new movies come out that do get a 0, we are forced to review them?
I think that's the law.
This is a dangerous precedent.
We are legally obligated.
We cannot escape it.
So something I worry about on my end is I think I'm too contrarian when I am met with the idea that this movie has 0%.
Interesting.
Whereas I feel like when I'm watching it, I'm going to be looking for something to like. Because part of me is like, nothing could have 0 good.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we do need to realize that a 0% just means that 0 of the critics who reviewed it liked it. They could still have like a 2 out of 10 score. It doesn't mean it's a 0 out of 10. It's just 0% of people who are critics.
That's a good point. Yeah, because the way that Rotten Tomatoes reviews movies is very different, or aggregates movie reviews is very different than the way that like a traditional like a 5-star scale or like a 10-point system works. So we do need to keep that in mind of like not every. Which I think will make it more interesting because every movie is not the bottom of the barrel. It just means a movie consistently that nobody liked. Wow.
So maybe we could all go around and, since we're going to be reviewing movies, sort of set up what we like is in movies. Like, what are some of our favorites? Maybe just list 5 of your favorites just so that the viewers know what we tend to like, because personally, I tend to like Westerns. If a movie's a Western on this list, I may be more apt to like it than the others here. Or maybe I'll be more apt to hate it because I like good Westerns.
Because they're butchering your love. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're cutting her up and putting her in the freezer. Or him.
So let's start with you, John.
Neither.
What are 5 of your favorite movies?
My 5. Well, just starting out, I'm just trying to think it through. Like genre-wise, I really like I like dramas. I like sci-fi movies. Some fantasy, maybe. Actually, I take that back. I like the Lord of the Rings, but I feel like everyone does, so that doesn't mean I like fantasy.
It's not a personality like Lord of the Rings.
It's not a personality trait. Not like liking The Office. But I like some comedies, but usually like dramatic comedies. I feel like they're usually more my wheelhouse. So things in there, things that are kind of on the cusp of pretentiousness, are usually things that I'll enjoy because I'll have to pretend to like them so I feel smart. Right. So I'm just looking at my Letterboxd, and as far as favorites, Lady Bird is I don't know if it's my favorite movie ever, but it's the movie I've watched most recently. And I'm like, gosh, this is a good movie. Which is like it's a dramatic comedy coming of age film. I like coming of age films. Her by Spike Jonze is super, super good. 10 Cloverfield Lane. I love that movie. Before Sunset. So just movies in that vein. So I'm the stuff that's sort of Oscar bait-esque, is sort of my wheelhouse.
Eli, how about you?
Well, for genres, I'm a big fan of sci-fi. I like horror films a lot. That was probably the main two. A little comedy in there. Like, what is his name? Shoot, now I'm a fool. I'm an idiot. A fool. An idiot. John
what do you
Hughes.
make?
Right. Yeah, John Hughes comedy. Like, big fan of that. So, top movies are like John Carpenter's The Thing, Halloween. So I'm a big fan of John Carpenter. I really like Nightcrawler. I think that's a great movie. That's sort of I don't know if you would call that a horror, but like a thriller.
I'd say probably a thriller. Yeah. It's hard to classify.
Yeah. And then Ferris Bueller's Day Off is
Dark.
my favorite comedy.
Something.
And Sprinkle in the Truman Show.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Yeah, so horror sci-fi, occasionally a joke or two in there is a good time.
Okay.
Yeah. Alex, thoughts?
Well, for genre of movies, I typically enjoy action-adventure kind of movies. I enjoy some horror movies. I sprinkle them in there some. I've never really been a huge fan of comedy. I guess most of the comedy that's put into, popular movies anyway, just doesn't jive with me.
Most of it is bad.
Yeah.
In your defense.
But my top 5 movies on my Letterboxd account are Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Jurassic Park 3. Oh, brother, where art thou? Star Wars Episode 2. And Train to Busan.
Foreign.
Train to Busan is very good.
Alex is our foreign film expert.
I dabble,
You sprinkle them in there, yeah. Kylan, what about you?
Great spread.
Okay. So, genre-wise, I tend to like, as I said, westerns, sci-fi, horror, comedy. I like a lot of different stuff, and probably at least on Letterboxd, 4 of my 5 favorites are types of westerns. So I'm going to not list just my 5, but just 5 that I like. So in general movies. So
yeah,
Hell or High Water, which came out in 2016. It's a neo-western. I think is really good. Has Chris Pinetree and it has Jeff Bridges, who I really like. Then I really like Jojo Rabbit, which came out in 2019. Very funny movie, I thought. Cabin in the Woods, I really enjoyed.
I just had a quick question, Kylan.
Yeah.
If it's a neo-western,
yeah,
is it crossed over with The Matrix and Keanu Reeves?
But of course, Keanu Reeves is in every movie.
Nice.
I really like Silence by Martin Scorsese. It's a really good movie. Adam Driver, of course, is in it. And then Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, to get, Keanu in there, of course. And it's just a fun time. But those aren't my 5 favorite, but just 5 of my favorites to give you like a rounded view of what I like. Film
All right. So
we've got some good lists going on. Yeah, we've got some eclectic taste, which is, I think, exciting for the way that we also just have like I think different approaches to the ways that we watch movies or think about movies. So I'm excited to see that come into play.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
I think it's gonna be a good time.
And then we'll obviously be bringing in, starting with the second movie, hopefully bring in guests each week.
Yes, absolutely.
Starting out with a bunch of people we know, and who knows, maybe if we gain some popularity, we get a famous person or two in there, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Also, if you are a person that is watching this, which is very unlikely statistically, but I still hope it happens, and you want to be on the podcast, you can probably find a way to reach out to us. You can follow me on Twitter. I think I'm at something, but I don't remember what it is. So find me and then say, I want to be on the podcast, and I'll probably put you on the podcast. Or find any of these other people. There are ways to it's 2020 right now.
We're all on the Twitter.
Yeah, you can't get away from it. But, yes, so because there's a lot of movies to fill out, and that's a lot of guests. And, gosh, we got to spread out the pain somehow.
And it may be more fun for you if, even if you're not being a guest, we're going to say each week what movie we're reviewing next week. Maybe watch it ahead of time, so when you watch it,
please
you'll be in on some of the terribleness. We do not want to suffer this alone.
We do not want it to be in vain. All right. Well, any other thoughts, gentlemen, before we peace out?
When are we getting Tobey Maguire as a guest?
Episode 2.
Hopefully.
He's already confirmed. He said he'll be there. So I expect him there very soon. So not Manos, but the next one. He said he promised.
The one after Manos is they took Hitler's brain or something like that.
Yes, that's the one he promised to be on, and he will definitely be there. So it's a good point, and that's a good plug, and we should really lead with that. I don't know why we didn't start and say this is a podcast that Tobey Maguire will be on, because he will be there.
But listen in next time. We're going to review Manos, The Hands of Fate from 1966.
Yes.
It's got a very fun story to it.
Is this the oldest film on the list? Are we doing this sequentially? Yes. Yeah. And that's another element that we're starting with the oldest film and then working up to current day.
And if we find some, like after we pass the time frame, if we find one, say when we're in the 70s on these, and we find one from the 60s, we can always loop back around if necessary.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But if people that do want to watch it for whatever reason, you can find it on Amazon Prime if you have a Prime membership. That's how I'm watching it, at least. I don't know.
It's also on
how you guys watched
Tubi
it
for free. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on Tubi for free apparently. I read it's public domain now.
Oh, nice.
They had to use that for the video game.
That's why they had to wait. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, boys. I look forward to this needlessly painful experience that it sounds like we're going to put ourselves through for
this
very little benefit.
This over a year-long journey.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys soon, and we will discuss Manos, The Hands of Fate. So be on the lookout for that.
You then.
Please like and subscribe.
All right. Bye, guys.
See y'all.